Thank you very much, Malik and co. And yes, the stage is set for our first semi-final. Welcome everybody to the floor here in the Blizzard Arena. I'm Mitch Leslie. This is Matt Morello. And we've already talked a lot in this pre-show about that main tank head-to-head, Matt. Who do you have for the dominant player between Gushui and Super?
I think right now, Super is the best Reinhardt in the league. So I think in that Reinhardt versus Reinhardt matchup, you're going to take Super. I think where it gets interesting is the Winston. I think Gushui plays a really strong Winston, but we know that Winston compositions are a little bit weaker against the Reinhardt. So I expect the Shock to stick with Reinhardt throughout the series, which would give them an edge.
In general, bringing the Reinhardt means your team can play together a little bit more. You have shielding that you can provide most of the time. Whereas if you play with Winston, this is something I want to look out for as we head into this match. Gushui on Winston will have to try and pick his way around Super. He actually won't want to go into a head-to-head face-off if he's playing the Winston. We've also seen Gushui play a fair bit of Reinhardt, so it's not as if these guys aren't going to be mirror matching on the same heroes at all. Yeah,
I will say, though, that the Spark, a lot of the people on the desk obviously take the Shock. The Shock are undefeated here in Stage 2. The Spark have not lost since they lost to the Shock in Week 3. So the Spark are on a roll, playing really aggressive. It'll be interesting to see. In their loss to the Shock, where they lose 4-0, it was a pretty competitive series on a lot of these maps. It'll be interesting how far they've come from that point to now.
Well, the Hangzhou Spark are looking for revenge then after that Week 3 match, but also a chance to get in towards our Stage 2 playoffs. It's time to light up the stage and welcome out the Hangzhou Spark.
I think you better bow down.
Undefeated since Week 3. Crystal really adding a lot more depth to this team, and not just the prismatic kind. Godsby, we've seen him mostly on that Zarya role, a little bit of flex towards Sombra, which is a hero that we'll see play sometimes to try and shut enemy tanks down, but the Spark have really seemed to solidify in their desired approach to the game.
Yeah, for me, it's really that they decide on a play style, right? This is a team that does have some language barrier issues to work through, and I think you can get around that by, just going. Like, go. Let's go forward. Let's be aggressive. That is what they've done since Week 3. We had Danny, one of our insiders, speak to the Spark during that match where they were going against the Shock because they looked quite good. And he was saying that, they've decided that they want to play this aggressive play style, and they look much better backing up Gushui, playing aggressive behind his main tank.
Well, Matt, we're all about go, go, go here at the Blizzard Arena. And one team who doesn't need any encouragement to hold down that W kick is their opponents today, the San Francisco Shock. And how good do you feel, by the way, as San Francisco? Your map streak that maybe would have caused a little bit of pressure, that undefeated 28-0 was broken by the Shanghai Dragons in their quarterfinal. That's out of the way now. And they said they didn't really worry about it too much, like having an unbroken streak didn't affect them, but now, even if it only slightly bothered them, it's gone. They can focus on winning, and nothing but a stage title here will be acceptable for the Shock.
Yeah, the Shock, they like to win, but they like to win big and running away with it, right? They want to not give up any points in these maps. You see Sinatra and Super, the two key players for this team. Super, we've highlighted in that main tank role. Sinatra, damage dealer, but he's going to be playing a flex tank. Zarya in this, the best in the league. I think you have to even consider him up in the MVP conversation for overall. I mean, he has been that good throughout stages 1 and 2.
Sinatra was actually signed by the Shock before he was even old enough to play in the Overwatch League. And by the way, for what was rumored to be one of the higher salaries at the time in the league, they really believed in this individual as a player who would shine. That obviously, file down the rough edges, and he'd become a crucial part of his team and the league, and they were right, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Super and Sinatra cannot play for the Lotto League last year, too young. Then when they hit that age where they're 18, where they can play, you didn't see the crazy results from the Shock in them as you would have expected, right? Really highly touted coming in. This year, though, it has really paid off. We can see the map set here presented by Toyota. So right now, all we know is map 1, Busan. Whoever loses Busan, our control map, will get to pick the next map. So that's how we decide the maps as the series goes on.
Bearing in mind as well, the highest seed chose the first map. So the San Francisco Shock, as the top seed in the league right now, elected to begin on this particular control map. We will have 3 rounds with 3 different battlefields if required, but this is the first one here as we now head in. It's based around this shrine, and you can see that the Spark are 4-2 on Busan. The Shock have chosen a map on which they are 500 in win and loss.
I mean, control, pretty straightforward. Get to the point, get up to 100%, you'll win a point of control. So, like you mentioned, we will play best out of 3 on control. It'll be the San Francisco Shock. This is what you're going to see a lot of the teams run throughout this series. 3 tanks with the Reinhardt, the Zarya, and the D.Va, and then 3 supports.
Both of these teams have gone for identical hero compositions right now. As generally, this 3-3 match, as you pointed out, is the most solid way to play the game. That means Gushui has to go head-to-head against Super, and I tell you what, he comes off second best in their first engagement, and that will force the entirety of the Spark to either leave the point or be eliminated.
Yeah, with all the tanks in play and the supports, you know, the tanks obviously have a large HP pool. You're able to push up with the supports. Just take a lot of space on the map, and that's what you see the Shock do better than almost any team. As soon as they see a weakness or a player out of position, they go. They attack right away, and they're able to get an advantage. Right there, they take out Gushui, push on forward. Everybody else for the Spark has to back up.
If you lose your Reinhardt, your main tank first in the fight, you're unlikely to win. The Shock have the highest win rate after losing Reinhardt, but it's only 35%. That's the highest in the league. Sinatra's being pressured a little bit now. He's looking for Super to try and play next to his main tank as they form the pillars for this composition. 100% down the bottom means Sinatra has a Graviton Surge, which is going to be a huge turn in this fight, but they may not need to use that ultimate. Getting Gushui first once more means the Hangzhou Spark, not only are they very unlikely to win, but the rest of the team has no protection.
Yeah, I mean, you see how far up Gushui's playing right there. No chance for the rest of the Spark to push forward and keep him alive. And all you have to invest there in terms of ultimates for the San Francisco Shock is the rally. So you have 5 ultimates online here for the Shock.
That is possibly the cheapest way to win a fight. That is the least important ultimate on this side, arguably.
So let's see what the Spark do. They are going to have pretty much all of their ultimates outside of their Earth Shatter. So they're going to have that support ultimates to stay alive. And that's going to be Godsby using the Graviton Surge, but it gets negated by Choyobin's Defense Matrix.
Choyobin, one of the best in the game at shutting down enemy projectile-based ultimates, and now Crystal to follow. This has gone from bad to worse for the Hangzhou Spark. Choyobin dropped a self-destruct on the point, forcing the Spark to take cover, forcing them into bad positions, and Bebe is going to be cut down by Sinatra as a result. I mean, what a way to take the wind out of a team's sails, Matt, by removing the most important ultimate from them. And now, at 92%, the Shock are almost done here. The Spark are unlikely to even have a chance to contest.
Oh, I mean, they are cruising right now, the Shock. We'll see if the Spark can get in. It looks like a boot back there on Naria. Does not allow them to get in to contest the point. So that'll be 1 point here to the San Francisco Shock. Completely dominant, Mitch. When the Godsby's Graviton Surge gets eaten up by Choyobin, that allows the Shock to hold on to their Transcendence, the Zenyatta ultimate, and their Lucio Sound Barrier. They don't even need either of those big support ultimates to take the point. Dominance there from the Shock.
This is about as comfortable a warm-up as San Francisco could have asked for in this match. Again, the Hangzhou Spark, by the time that they were ready to go and actually had key ultimates, the Shock already had 80% out of 100 of capture progress.
Yeah, so this is going to see from Choyobin's POV eating the Graviton Surge, and you see Godsby, he likes to use them from range. We've seen them do that in a few of their series. Choyobin obviously realizes that, has the Defense Matrix active. Nobody on the Shock dies during that whole first round. So you'll see both teams come out with that mirror composition again, both built around that Reinhardt in the middle.
Early damage taken by Choyobin here. He needs to back up. As he's one of the most important pillars of the Shock's composition. They require the D.Va. Again, Choyobin needs to be in his mech to eat those Graviton Surges as he did in the prior round. The Spark dropped to the low ground here, and they will contest the point. This is going to force a response from the Shock, but they're happy to sit on the high ground. Violet had the perfect vantage point to pick off the opposition Zenyatta. Bebe being down now means that the Spark's healing is cut drastically, and as a result, Gushui cannot stay alive on the point.
Yeah, when they drop to the point, that gives the Shock a good high ground advantage where you can have Sinatra use some of that charge to burn down Gushui's shield. So, you know, we got a quick view of him on the point, just having the shield up. Fire coming from every direction. Choyobin on the right, Sinatra from the high ground. Violet's able to pick one up to start the fight. As soon as Violet gets that kill, everybody from the Shock drops down. You know you have the player advantage on the point.
16% and counting now in capture progress for the Shock. Great start for them, and they have Violet's Transcendence ready to roll. The Spark have not yet reached any of those ultimate abilities. They're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way until they get the Godspeed, very charged up though. Excellent to have such high charge early in the fight, which means that his damage as a result is exponentially increased, and he quickly lets the Graviton Surge go. This time, no opportunity for Trico to shut it down. He's a self-destruct on the point, but Kushrei keeps his shield up, protecting his teammates, but then he and Crystal are knocked down, and a Graviton Surge also used on the left side of the point. Half of the spark carved off from the other. Super puts his shield up this time, a self-destruct comes in. And the rest of the Shock now just trying to collect themselves around the protective barrier. They have a player advantage here, and they're in control of the point. They love to be in this position.
Yeah, and they also have Sound Barrier, Moss Lucio ultimate, but they're not even in need to use it. They pick up some of these eliminations towards the end, so they'll be able to hold on to the point. Where at that time, the Shock, they gave up that positioning on the point again. It looked like maybe the Spark were going to flip it, but even if they did flip it, wouldn't really matter. You had that good high ground positioning to play off of again if you're the Shock for a quick retake.
This may be the last chance the Hangzhou Spark have to get themselves back in this round, but they've lost Baby early. Once again, the Zenyatta is down. A huge part of their healing, and also damage amplification has been taken off the table. Sound barrier now, attempted here from IDK, but not many people on the Spark actually benefit from that one. That may have been line of sight blocked. So now it's just Godspeed, and yes, he's putting out a lot of damage, but he's just one player against a full 6, and the Shock are close now. 95%, it's unlikely once more the Spark will be able to put up real resistance on the point. IDK thinks about trying, but no, he knows it's done. Already map 1 is going over to the San Francisco Shock, mate. They're taking no prisoners, no chances, and they're not giving an inch to the Spark yet.
Yeah, and you see why the San Francisco Shock in Stage 2 have been our most dominant team in the league. Super and Sinatra, the tanks you're talking about at the beginning of the series, that they combine for 14 final blows. They don't die at all in map 1. Map number 2, we'll see if the Shock can bounce back after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. AKM on the Dallas Fuel was under assault by the Houston Outlaws Winston, played by Muma, and just about to get knocked out when the Fuel's own Unko stuck a clean sleep dart to save his teammate and win the fight.
A very rapid open to proceedings here in our first semi-final at the Blizzard Arena. This team on your screen came out of the gate strong, and they quickly snapped up map number 1. Matt, name a better glow-up than the San Francisco Shock in this league.
I mean, there is none. I think one of the players, really, it's Super. I mean, you see him right there, tying his shoes on the stage. But he had himself a great map number 1. And the tank comparison, him versus Gushue, right? The desk was hyping it up. Reinhardt on Busan. I mean, you see the numbers here. Everything in favor of Super. They played at the same amount of time as the Reinhardt-based compositions is what we saw both teams run. And I think if you are the Spark, your key to victory is getting the better of this matchup. And it's tough because Super is, I think, at least in my opinion, the best in the league at this matchup right now.
I just love these tiny shoes. I was like, where are you running, bro? Right now, you're going to sit there in
he's
your
running
chair.
over the Spark. That's where he's running.
No, he's living rent-free in their heads already. There's no distance to cross. A very good early start from him. Oh, look, we've already talked about Gushue, and I think a lot more of his more shining reviews come from his play on the monkey scientist Winston. Now, he's a substitution for the Spark. Adora comes in for Crystal. This is a substitution we often see the Spark make. We normally see Adora play Brigitte here and not much else.
Yeah, so we usually see Adora come into the game, like you said, to play Brigitte. Crystal has a little bit larger of a hero pool. He can play a lot of, the damage dealers for a map type like Control. But when you go over to a game like Blizzard World, one of our hybrid maps, you usually want a Brigitte all the time, almost like a Brigitte specialist. So that's where Adora comes in. He'll be playing that hero the whole time.
So here, now just over this little thatched roof is point A. That's where Shock are going to be trying to attack and control. Once they do that, the payload will move out of that gate there, just under the life raft, and then they'll be able to push on, and they'll have to escort the payload for the rest of the map.
And you see, even though the San Francisco Shock are undefeated in the stage on this map, the Spark picked this because they full held the London Spitfire on it the other day in our quarterfinals. So the Spark, they've had some success on this map recently. They feel pretty strong about it.
San Francisco Shock don't really waste too much time with the pleasantries here. They approach the point quickly, but a fire strike from Gushue connects with 3 players. Violet and Moth both went pretty low on health, and those 2 are the support, so they definitely need to be kept alive. Super leaps over the box here and tries to accost Gushue, but the main tank from the Spark is kept very healthy. Neither team has found an inch yet, but the Shock are looking a little bit haggard. They've taken a lot of poke damage here across this breach. Godspeed will play it safe here, again, giving that bubble over towards Gushue, protecting his right and also giving himself extra charge, which leads to extra damage.
Yeah, both teams just fishing for some damage here, just trying to get an advantage. But you see the Shock, they've now pushed onto the point. They feel like they have taken the space here from the Spark. It's going to be the Spark who have to fight back. It'll be a grab that comes out from Sinatra of the San Francisco Shock here. You see the Transcendence also coming out from the Shock, trying to keep everybody topped up and alive.
Yeah, both teams in Yardis now giving a lot of area of effect healing to their teammates for that short period, but look out. Godspeed has a Graviton Surge, and that's where the Spark win this fight. Earth Shatter attempt here from Gushue. Adora was knocked to the ground by Super, and now it's a 1-for-1 trade, but Super is missing the Shock now. Their helmsman is missing in action. Trickhoven's forced into the corner at the top of your screen, but Gushue was low. Trickhoven, perfect turnaround on towards the main tank of the Spark. He'll now have an opportunity to climb back into his mech here after using the self-destruct, but straight away he's removed from it once more. He can't just jump straight back in now. He'll need to wait. But the Shock have pushed the Spark back off the point here, Matt. They have good positioning. They're creating space, and IDK might have pushed 2 forward a little bit as Super now can just swing that corner. And the Shock have point A now. They'll get to escort the payload.
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons that the San Francisco Shock is able to take that point there towards the end when a lot of players die is that the San Francisco Shock's Brigitte Rascal's still alive. A Graviton Surge here used by Sinatra, so picking up some of the players here for the Spark that were just lingering around, sending them back to the respawn. But when Rascal's alive, in these compositions, your Brigitte is the only one that has a big burst heal where she uses her repair pack and gives one single player a ton of HP back, so you're able to kind of keep players who are really low in health and bring them all the way back up. when they have that advantage of having their Brigitte still in play, Sinatra can play way more aggressive than Godspeed can in that situation, because if he gets low, there's nobody bringing him pretty much right back up to full HP. It's going to be a grab now used here by the Spark up to the high ground. They get nothing for it, though.
Yeah, another Transcendence from Violet, so that healing is going to allow the Shock to stave off all this damage. And look at this.
Nothing from the
Fleet
Shatter.
of foot, the Shock drop from the high ground and avoid the Earth Shatter that would have knocked them all to the ground and made it very hard for them to fight against the Spark. Gushue probably feeling a little bit frazzled right now. That ultimate was something that he was really looking to get value out of. In fact, the Spark needed to win a fight with it. They've done the exact opposite of that, and now they're being forced back. Bebe needs to get a Transcendence. The end of this cul-de-sac marks point B, where the Shock will get a time extension. Shatter attempt there from Super. Tries to knock the hammer down. No one affected by it, and Bebe's able to come forward now at that Transcendence. The Spark needs to use his period of extra healing to get aggressive, but they can't, or at least they don't. Here's a sound barrier now from IDK. Bit of extra durability. The Spark are pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, and it's going to be the Graviton Surge that comes here from the Spark at the end. And they're not even able to follow it up. Transcendence here that comes out from Violet. Rascal now going to use the rally and push on forward. You're going to see a rally that comes out here from Adora, which is almost like kind of desperation here from the Spark. They're trying to extend this, get some more players back into the mix, because they know against a team like the San Francisco Shock, you can't give up this point B with that much time still left in the bank.
Well, when the Sparks players respawn after 10 seconds, they'll actually spawn closer to the payload than the Shock will. So over time, if these two teams trade one elimination for one elimination, the Spark will outnumber them. Sinatra, though, is close to yet another Graviton Surge. We pointed this guy out as a key player. The linchpin strikes once more, and Gushue looks on with dismay as the rest of his teammates are cut down around him, and he couldn't do a thing about it.
And you just see how much more damage that Sinatra puts down. Both of these Zaryas for these teams use grabs at the beginning of the fight. One from the Spark, one from the Shock, and Sinatra able to build up another grab even faster than Godspeed, where Godspeed now sitting at 75% towards his, but Sinatra, that 82 average energy is insane. I mean, on Zarya, right, you start at 0, you use the bubbles, they take damage, you build up. They're towards that 100 energy cap.
That is
Keep 80 the entire game is unreal.
And again, the more damage you do, the faster you get your ultimates. The cooldown is based on how much damage you've done. So you see those percentages tick up. The more charge you have, the quicker you get that ultimate because you're doing more damage. So bear that in mind as we look at Sinatra's damage numbers. And that's a huge Earth Shatter. 3 players on the Spark knocked to the ground. 2 of them were supports, unable to give healing in that moment. And now Gushue again will be cornered. Without the protection and support of his team, there's only so much one man with a hammer can do.
And it's really bad losing this fight if you're the Hangzhou Spark, because that allows Sinatra to build up towards a grab yet again. So
look how fast he is at charging this.
I mean, just having that one extra fight. I mean, right now, Sinatra is building a grab
83% average energy.
He's building a grab every minute. He's 33% of the Shock's overall team damage. That's a huge game here in Game 2.
In fairness, Godspeed has been doing it just as fast. 1 minute for both of these Zarya players to get the Gravitons, but Sinatra's have just looked better. They've been more effective, better timing, better placement. Here's a self-destruct over the top here. Both teams trying to blow each other up, but Adora's the one that gets pinned up against the wall. Super aggressively charges forward. Now a sound barrier here for the Hangzhou Spark. They're getting a bit of extra durability for a short period of time, but the Shock don't seem to care. As much extra health as the Spark try and add to themselves, the Shock just reaves through it. And now Bebe being pressured back into the corner here. They've already lost Gushue once more. There's no front line here. There's no stalwarts left for the Spark, and they're going to be run into the ground. The San Francisco Shock have just demonstrated one of the most aggressive, blazing fast pushes on the attacking side of Blizzard World that we've seen so far, Matt.
Yeah, and Sinatra goes for 21 elims, 5 final blows, 0 deaths. So like we mentioned at the end of Control, our map 1, did not die all of that map through the first half here in Blizzard World, has not died as well. And no, look, if you are not going to take this player out and he's going to have 83 average energy on the Zarya, this series is going to be quick. I mean, you're going to have to deal with him in some way, and right now the Spark have had no answer for it.
Super has 1 death on the Reinhardt to Gushue's 6 right now. We've put them head-to-head a couple of times, and I mean, it's pretty clear to see, right? If your team is struggling, if you're being run over, then yes, your statistics are not going to look nearly as good. But Matt, what I'm more interested about is the Zarya comparison here, because Godspeed is pretty close in terms of average energy, 67%. His ultimates are coming up almost as fast, but they're just not really having the same impact. Sinatra has 21 eliminations. Godspeed has 4.
I mean, when you're when you're building up the energy on Zarya, right? You see the Stage 2 finals on ABC tomorrow, 10 a.m. PT. Definitely tune in for that. You know, if we had a rematch like Stage 1, I mean, the Shock versus the Titans, that was an epic match. But you know, when you have the Zaryas that charged up, and you know, when you average 83 energy there, percentage-wise for Sinatra, now you're pretty much at 100 the whole game. I mean, because you start out at 0, right? Like, it takes a while to build up towards, you know, that 100. When you're at 100, you're doing double damage. If you're letting him just run around doing double damage pretty much the whole map, I mean, that is, it's a lot of damage for you to be able to heal up. It puts a lot of pressure on Guxue in the main tank role. It's something that you don't want to deal with, and they have not figured out how to deal with the pressure that the Shock will put on, and then also dealing with that pressure and being able to get eliminations onto the Zarya.
You see that? Super took a huge chunk of damage from Bebe, I dare say, and had to have a repair pack allocated to him. The Shock really had to shore up a little bit of the weakness before the fight started. And the Spark, if they could pressure that, there would be a window in which there'd be no more repair packs. Now, Rascal's likely to have that one ready again for the next little stoush. And you'll see that Guxue and Super will mirror each other playing around this corner, trying to get damage on one another, but also protecting their team. It's a very fine line to walk. Guxue is knocked back. Choi Hyobin took a big hit, as has Super. This could be dangerous now. I don't think there's a repair pack available for the Shock, and the Spark might want to lean into the damage they've been able to get early on. Godspeed at 80 charge. He's doing almost his maximum amount of damage here. The pressure is starting to mount on the Shock. Violet has a Transcendence, so there is a support ultimate, and San Francisco go for that straight away, and they use that impetus to push forward. They claim Rhea. It's a 6v5 player advantage here for the Shock. Bebe goes for a later Transcendence, but look at San Francisco, Matt. They back away.
And there's nothing the Spark get out of that Transcendence. They have to back all the way up. So you usually when you see the Transcendence come out from the offensive team, get aggressive. You're getting all of that AoE healing from your Zenyatta.
So you know you can play more recklessly, right?
Yeah, it's really difficult to die. I mean, to get burst down during that ultimate, as that's going to be the grab that comes in from the Spark. Sound barrier answer here from the Shock. You could have used that Transcendence better in that previous fight if you're the Spark, though.
And look at that. The Shock come out of the Graviton Surge with barely a scratch on them.
They back up.
Once more, the Shock play it safe across the point. They say, yeah, we'll let you have a bit of progress here. The Spark have one tick of permanent progress on the point A right now. But here's the Shatter. It is massive! 4 players are knocked to the ground. Oria's already taken out of his mech, and the follow-up looks just as grisly. And that is not easy to do. If you are a Reinhardt, your Earth Shatter can be easily blocked by an enemy Reinhardt. It is difficult to get 4 players knocked to the ground, but Super waited for just the right moment. He waited until Guxue was not able to protect against the Shockwave.
And a lot that goes into the Rein versus Rein matchup. We can take a look at this replay here from Super as just catches, you know, yeah, Guxue on the corner there. Didn't expect, you know, the Shatter to come down. But
never saw it coming.
But you can block that Earth Shatter with your own Reinhardt shield, and it's really kind of like a mental game between the Reinhardts. Right now, Guxue, you have no ultimate stuns, so no Earth Shatter stuns. No kills, obviously, off the back of them. You have 8 there for Super.
Guxue's able to knock 2 down with the Earth Shatter here, but look at this. Super charges at Guxue, just as Guxue also charges. They knock each other down here, and that's big for the Shock because that could have put them a player behind if Guxue connected with another player. And now the Shock once more can clean up the fight, and Matt, this is a disaster for Hangzhou. Nothing is going right for them in this entire match so far.
Well, I mean, for the Spark, I guess you come back, you do have a Graviton Surge, and you're going to have a Self-Destruct. So 2 really good ultimates to combo together. And you have a Transcendence. You do not have a Transcendence yet for the San Francisco Shock. You're working up towards a sound barrier here. But you do have a grab, you do have rally, and then look, Super, the way he's been hitting these Shatters. Guxue needs to be in a position to block this.
Shatter, it's feast or famine, Matt. You either connect with players or it just goes straight to a wall or a Reinhardt shield. It looks very silly. Guxue wants to push up now. He doesn't have a Shatter. He used his already and wasn't able to capitalize on it in the previous fight. Rascal also with his shield up, trying to protect whoever he can, and that's a Graviton Surge now. Guxue needs to try and charge Super out of the way, but the Shock go for a Graviton themselves. Both teams hold each other in place with the forces of gravity for a period of time, and that prevents the Shock from actually getting pushed on by the Spark. Now Super has that Shatter still in reserve. His last one was amazing. Let's see if this one can stand up to the hype. It is not bad at all. It's Bebe going to be knocked down. A 1 target sometimes is enough. Guxue forced to back up. Super has a Discord Orb on him, so damage will be amplified in his direction, but it doesn't matter, because look in the back. Violet just throwing up those orbs, cleaning up Adora. Now to spark it down players. That Earth Shatter was one of the ones I mentioned that looks silly when they go into a shield. It was no good for an Hangzhou Spark, and they're not even going to get to touch the payload, Matt. They failed to push point A so far, and now overtime is done. That is definitely one of the quicker Blizzard World maps that I have seen in the Shock. Look to be dominating in every aspect of the game right now.
They are absolutely cruising through our first 2 maps. Sinatra and Super only 1 death apiece there.
He switched on, look at him.
So this has not looked good for the Spark. I mean, they're going to have to go into halftime, make some big adjustments.
No doubt about it. Halftime is when we'll get to consult with our desk of experts to break down the madness that has been this match so far.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
The San Francisco Shock came into this stage playoffs with the #1 overall seed, and they're showing why. They're putting on a clinic so far, up 2-0 over the Spark at the half. Welcome to halftime, everybody. Malik here. We got Zoe and Sideshow, and a special guest, Sleepy, from the Washington Justices, joining us. Before we get into anything, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
We're doing great, man. Fast first half, man. Are you proud to see your old squad dominating the way they are so far?
Oh, yeah, I'm extremely proud of them because they're not making like any personal mistakes. They're just flying through every team.
Indeed, indeed. So, what were you guys' main takeaways from that first half? Because it was pretty quick.
It was unbelievably quick. I feel like we only just left.
We actually did. I think by the time we sat down over in the other room, we kind of had to go back out. And yesterday, I felt like we had a quick day. Well, today looks to be even quicker.
It's kind of crazy because the San Francisco Shock went from a team that were pretty good, and then they've suddenly developed into a team that's literally just crushing everybody. And I just want to hear your thoughts a little bit, Sleepy, about what you think that development was for the team, because you were playing with them at the time where they were starting to make those developments.
So, like, they've gotten, like, the base level of GOATs just, like, down, whereas, like, a lot of teams still have to work on, like, their mechanics and, like, coordination, stuff like that. So, like, they're so, like, just set on GOATs that now they can just start working on making everything just flow together perfectly, everyone on the same page, and everyone just making like super plays and stuff like that and pop off all the time. So
How much of that is also due to coaches and analysts from the team?
A lot of it.
Right.
The coaches definitely prepare them super well for every single match and teach them everything that they could possibly want to know.
Right. Now, for the people who don't know, you are an ex-member of the San Francisco Shock, and you've moved on to another team. But I want to know, because they weren't this strong in stage 1, what was the key adjustment that they made to get this dominant?
Like I said, I think once they got like all the base mechanics down, and like they just had like a stable set 6 roster, like with the addition of Rascal as well, they became a lot more clutch and just were able to work on always being as 6 and doing everything together. So if one person messes up, oh, it's okay. We have 5 people to back you up, and you're going to be fine.
They've been synergizing on a completely different level. I hear that. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the highlights because there was a lot to unpack in this first half, a lot of dominance on the side of the San Francisco Shock, actually. Super doing what he normally does, coming out of the gates and just taking control.
Yeah, what I love about San Francisco in general is that they don't give respect to their opponents. They don't give them too much space. They always apply pressure, and a lot of teams crumble under that kind of pressure. And we were bigging up this Super versus Gushua matchup. Well, it's all been Super and it's all been San Francisco the whole time.
Gushua has been pressured quite a bit, though.
Yeah.
He was the one to die first in many of those engagements, and actually on the first round, 0 kills for the Spark. Nothing, none.
Nada.
Second round, they got 2. So that's how they ended that first one, and quite died.
2 total elims for them
Yeah.
the entire map. That's not good
No.
on the side of the Spark. But also, there's been another matchup we were keeping an eye on. That's Gosby and Sinatra. What are you guys' takeaway on that one? Sinatra just pretty much free dominating this one.
I mean, honestly, no. The thing is, like, statistically, Godsby didn't look bad. Look at his average energy. That was this high throughout the entirety of the game. He's really close to the average time to ult as well in comparison to Sinatra. The only issue he has is, what is he doing with all that energy and all that damage? Like, he's not really finding an opening or getting an opening. CP, what did you see there from Godsby?
Yeah, I mean, like, his stats are definitely looking really good. He's trying his best. It's really hard when, you bubble your brig and he just falls over or something like that. It's pretty difficult sometimes.
It's nuts. It's like the Spark as well. I think we saw from them earlier on in the day, they had an interview piece where they were saying, we really enjoyed being able to take control of the tempo against the London Spitfire. We liked being the aggressive team. And now they look scared. They look like they're backing off. They look like they're playing slow. This isn't the Spark playing as well as they could be. But also it's just because Shock are playing so much faster. Like, how could you possibly play at the same speed as the Shock when you don't have the teamwork to be able to do it? And in map 2, it was slightly better. Obviously, with the losers pick system, the Hangzhou Spark get to pick Blizzard World. And their point A wasn't terrible. They have a little bit of back and forth. But in the end, they slowly crumple.
Yeah, it just looked like it was a complete more dominance for the San Francisco Shock. Now, Sleepy, if I'm not mistaken, you still do a little bit of scrimming with the Shock, right?
I do.
All right, so when you're scrimming with them, like, can you point out any weaknesses or anything the Spark can channel in this match to get back into the game?
No. it's over. There's times where, like, and I've been in that situation, like, you prepare so well for, like in Spark's case, you're preparing for Shock, and then you get in game and you just feel so mentally outplayed, there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah. How much of it is mental as well? Because honestly, a lot of the teams, when they go up against these top teams, it seems like they lose control of the game plan and then it just slips away from them because the snowball keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, like you'll prepare like 3 hours or 4 hours just straight cramming the night before with like your coaches, and then you get in game, the first 2 maps go by, you get completely rolled, you're like, it's not looking too good.
That reminds me of all my university exams. Just cramming the night before, you sit down and you're like, oh no, I've been boomed.
This is the way this is supposed to pan out. Well, guys, that's going to do it for halftime. Now, we all know the Overwatch League has the greatest fans in the world. And with the help of our friends at ESPN, we'd like to share with you the story of one of the biggest super fans, Danik Sodikov, whose experience in Overwatch is his own unique way.
Because she really wasn't in the play very much, right? She was more referred to. So if you could come up with a quote.
I don't know how you can not smile after seeing that right there. So heartwarming. What do you guys think?
I love it. I mean, I saw this happening right here with the translations. I was just mesmerized by just watching how quickly they were able to translate all the things our casters are saying. Again, like words have to be made up for something like that because they didn't exist before. So this is fantastic.
I love the Overwatch fan experience of how it brings people together from all over the place. It's such a diverse, different group of people from all different backgrounds, and seeing those people like still enjoy the game from a totally different avenue is so heartwarming.
It's what makes this game great. It's what makes it so amazing. Well, Sleepy, man, I gotta say thank you so much for joining us. Now we'll see if the Hangzhou Spark can come all the way back when we return. We'll be right back after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on this side of the halftime break. It's 2-0 in this series. The San Francisco Shock lead comfortably, and Matt, it doesn't look close on paper. It didn't look close in game.
No, I mean, this has been a 2-0 that is, sometimes you're like, oh, well, it's 2-0, but it looks really close, back and forth. This has been a 2-0 that has looked like a 2-0. I mean, the Shock in complete control of this series this far. Where the Spark at halftime, you got to wonder what the conversation was on that side. We can take a look at the Stage 2 playoff bracket. So you see where we are right now in the Shock versus the Spark. The winner of this would play in our Stage 2 final. Would be tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then we got that Titans NYXL match, which is going to be nuts after this.
Yeah, I mean, that is a match that everyone's been waiting for. We haven't seen those two teams play each other yet. And they're touted as one of the most exciting combos teams to see. But let's head back to this one. Our third map is going to be an assault map by the name of Hanamura here. the loser chooses the map in this first to 4 series. So the Shock now going for something that they hope can break this deadlock, because they looked very good on this map, the Hangzhou Spark, against London previously.
Yeah, the Spark won this map against the London Spitfire. They were able to full hold them. So it's another map where the Shock are undefeated. So just like Blizzard World, you see where that was our point A. Now as we move in, this would be point B. So Assault just have to capture both points.
No payloads here, no licenses required. You've just got to capture point A, then point B. And again, it will come down to who can do it faster. If we need to and teams have time left over, we'll go again.
So the Spark just going for maps that they were successful in the other day against London, regardless of the fact that the Shock are good at them. I think, look, if you look at the Shock's win rate on a lot of maps, it's very high, undefeated on a lot of different maps. I think you're going to find it pretty hard, so you may as well play what you're good at.
So here's the first big challenge for the Spark, Matthew, is getting through this gate. Again, it's a choke point, which is always dangerous for attacking teams to push into, because defenders tend to just funnel all of their projectiles and all their damage in there. Let's see if the Spark can actually break through this, because it's very easy to get snarled up here.
Yeah, one thing the Shock can do on defense is they can preserve super shields, so the shield does have like 2,000 hit points.
It's limited.
Yeah, and look, I mean, usually has to keep the shield up to get through. Super can just play on the corner, so you're going to have the shield for a little bit longer for the Reinhardt on D.
Tricova's just doing some aerial acrobatics here around Rhea, just clowning on the guy. Rhea now heads up to the high ground, but Tricova pretends that he was looking elsewhere, instead turns back and kicks him out of his mech. For D.Va, it's all well and good if your mech is destroyed. You pop out as a pilot form, you get a chance at a second life, but in that case, there's no way that Rhea wanted that to happen. He got ejected deep in enemy territory, so he walked off the map and reset to respawn.
Then Sinatra, you can see how charged up he was on the Zarya, already getting close to a Graviton Surge, because he can just do so much AoE damage, just lobbing those Zarya alternate fires into the choke that connect with so many players there. See, one connects with Gouche, pops him right up. That'll give Sinatra the grab.
And he is ready to go. 100 is the number beneath his aiming reticle. That is his percentage charge. It doesn't get any nastier than that. Now Gouche, sides were unprotected, so Sinatra gets some early damage in there. They're trying to pressure Super down. He has an orb of Discord on him, but Sinatra puts everything to a stop immediately. The handbrakes go on with the Graviton Surge, but with the Transcendence from Bebe, the Shock don't have enough damage to cut across the healing the Spark were able to give, and now that's their turn to go for a Graviton Surge. Oh, trick open. That is so clever. The self-destruct to the right of the bell prevents the Spark from pushing in and challenging the Shock while they were caught inside the Graviton Surge.
Yeah, Zylu Super can just put his shield down. Now you're going to see the Shatter. He connects with 2. Follow not exactly there this time, though. Trioban on the other side of the point, just trying to get in, contest a bit.
So Super there was stunned up briefly. That was Adora stepping forward and hitting with a shell bomb through the window! The fire strike from Super! That is just crazy. Gouche was low. I don't know if Super was expecting to get one, and yes, you get excited about things like that, because I have never seen that before.
And you know what, with these fights on this map, they take so long to develop that you're already with 1 minute and 20 seconds left here for the Spark on their offense. And you're going to get maybe one more chance with some ultimates here. It's going to be very difficult. They do get some progress, so, you know, 53% of permanent progress. So you see the little tick at the top of your screen.
That's where they got to.
But you only have 1 minute to go here. You're going into a Graviton Surge in Transcendence. It's going to be very difficult here for the Spark.
Once again, the Shock just know how to make themselves comfortable. Now, Repair Pack had to be used on Sinatra there. He took a lot of damage, and the contingency plan had to be enacted. So the Shock will play a little bit passively for the time being now. Wait for the Spark to approach them. But the Spark really want to get on top of them now. We see the Graviton Surge thrown at the Shock, but they stave it off again with Transcendence. This time it was Violet protecting his team from the oncoming damage. Now the Shock can set up on the point here, but Gouche needs to get value from an Earth Shatter. He has it available. Super does not have his yet, but with Rhea now de-seated to Graviton here, the Spark are running out of options and fast. Charge comes in, Gouche's out of the picture. He can't use that Shatter. Super went for his, and it's enough. He cleans up Godspeed. And once again, the Spark are back to the drawing board with 15 seconds left, and they have to do better than this.
Oh, Bebe is going to fall here, so you're not going to have the extra damage from your Zenyatta in the final moments. Right now, you're just worried about getting a touch to send this into overtime if you're the Spark.
Rhea had to go just to, touch the point and keep it going. Gouche attempts an Earth Shatter, no dice.
So he's not able to get anything with it. Gouche forced off the point here. Gets back on, touches for just a second, but this is not looking good for the Spark. I don't think there's a way they can bring this back, as the Shock have looked so strong in this series. The Spark have yet to get a point on any of the maps.
This is about as one-sided as the Hangzhou Sparks' last 3 maps against the London Spitfire in their quarterfinal game. Really, there's no other way of putting this to you. I don't think I've really seen too many matches that have been this one-sided, especially in a match with stakes this high. Winner goes through to our stage final tomorrow. Loser drops out. Everything on the line here for the Hangzhou Spark here in stage 2, and they need to step up to this task.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the semi-final match here in the Overwatch League. And of course, a big hello to those of you joining us on ABC. Yes, video games on your TV.
It's awesome.
It's happening.
Yeah, so this has been a 2-0 lead now for the San Francisco Shock. They full hold the Hangzhou Spark there on their attack on Hanamura. Full hold, so basically they don't even get point A. They get about 50% of the way there, so that'll be the mark that the Shock have to get to take this map. It'll be their 3rd map in the series. It'll be a 1st to 4, so they're looking very good, right now. For the Spark, they did not get a point on control. They did not capture point A on our hybrid map on Blizzard World. They get full held here. It has not been a good day for the Hangzhou Spark.
So as a general rule, the way you win these maps on Overwatch is you get further through the map on attack than your opponent did. So in this case, all the Shock need to do, they don't even have to capture point A, mate. That's what's crazy here.
Yeah.
Hangzhou went to point A, they got 53.3% of a capture done. All the Shock need to do here is get that much themselves with time on the clock. They look like they're going to be able to do that, most likely. So in reality, this may not be that long around. This might be very quick, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, you have another round where, for the Shock, you only have 1 death, and that comes with Violet, who falls. So it'll be the Shock on offense here. Both teams going to run triple tank, triple support. This time, though, Gushui will be on the Winston. So this is what they talked about during our pre-show.
Finally, we get to see him play it.
Really hyped him up. This is his signature hero. But it is not favorable against the Reinhardt. You see Super getting very low, putting the shield up. He's going to have to walk back.
Super still, yeah, like you said. Taking that much damage means he couldn't advance any further, and Gusue now is going to play close here in this corner, but the Shock know this. They're going to try and get aggressive on him now. Gusue is forced to put down his bubble, which is a protected shield that lasts only a short period of time, and it was enough to keep him alive under the pressure the Shock are applying now. Nimble as he is, he can play from the high ground here and keep tickling Matt. He has his ultimate. His Primal Rage is ready to go. That is huge.
It's a really nice play. So what happens there is the San Francisco Shock start to walk towards the point. And the Spark, they're kind of like playing from the high ground. They're putting down some damage over and over again. And what they realize is that Violet, the Zenyatta for the Shock, is split off towards that right-hand side. Zenyatta doesn't have a large HP pool. What happens? Gonsby in Gusue jump right on top of Violet. The players for the Shock not able to get over there, keep him alive fast enough. And Violet, you know, as you've seen throughout this series, he's put down a ton of damage for the Shock. So you lose that source of damage. Also some healing. You have to back out.
He got caught there, sandwiched between the shield of Adora and the wall. And now the Shock have lost Lucio, which means they actually don't have the ability to give themselves a speed boost. Now, moving quickly in their composition is very important. They're not mobile on their own. They need the Lucio there to propel them forward. Now they're stuck standing around for a while, and yeah, they lose another one. Now the San Francisco Shock are stuck on the high ground. They're lost at sea, missing 2 of their players, 2 of their healers, no less.
Yeah, and they have to, so you're going to see the Spark pick up a lot of eliminations here. As the Shock, there's nothing they can do from this position. When you lose 2 supports like that, it's very difficult to even get everybody through this initial choke point. You know, when you have the full team and you have the shield to hide behind, when you just have like a Zenyatta and a Lucio, very difficult on those 2 players alone to get through the choke.
This switch up now, but the Spark is working and it makes you wonder, why is it happening so late? Gusue clearly virtuoso on this Winston roll, and it's making it look good right now. Is it going to be enough to keep the Spark in this series, though? It may well be. Both, again, has been lost already in this fight. And that's a big support ultimate now. That sound barrier that's off the table. What can the Shock do in lieu of that Lucio's presence? Here it is. Graviton Surge. Bebe goes down. The Shock have actually found a kill in this fight. Make it 2. Adora's missing. 2 of the supports now for the Hangzhou Spark are missing. But Gusue strikes back. His Primal Rage gives him extra mobility. He's looking angry. And he's knocking people left and right with his flying fists. Now the sound barrier for the Hangzhou Spark keeps them a bit more durable. The onslaught, though, hasn't finished yet. The Shock have now moved to the point with 4 players, and reinforcements, Matt, are on the way.
Yeah, and they have an advantage in terms of spawn. They're going to spawn closer here than the Hangzhou Spark, and you see how close they are to completing the map. That little checkpoint at the top of your screen, getting very close. Nobody from the Spark able to get back on the point. It'll be the San Francisco Shock that take map 3.
The Shock now are within 1 map of booking their ticket to that grand final, and I feel that man in the front row shaking his head, not just because he's a Seoul Dynasty fan right now, but also because this has been one-sided still. The Spark, they show some signs of life, Matt. There is some charge in them still, but how much can they really push this Winston pick from Gusue? That is a question we must be asking. Chokobin looking classy, all of the Shock looking tight, and we'll be back with map 4 right after these messages. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Dire straits for the Hangzhou Spark now in their semi-final match against the San Francisco Shock. It has not been a close series thus far. We saw just a glimpse, Matt, of the strengths of Hangzhou Spark on that prior map where we saw the Gushue Winston play, but it still fell apart. They still lost the map in a pretty one-sided fashion.
And the Spark have been pretty good in this stage. So they're not a playoff team in our first stage of the Overwatch League. They're a playoff team in this stage. They start to get hot towards the end of stage 2. When they lose to the San Francisco Shock in week 3, they don't lose after that to run the gauntlet pretty much. To this point, they even beat our defending champions from the overall league last year in the round 1 of the London Spitfire. But man, they have run into a buzzsaw today here going up against the San Francisco Shock.
It's a grisly way to put it, but it's true. The metaphor very aptly used to describe their performance in this match so far. And, you know, the Spark, yeah, they can't feel bad about it, really. They bookended a nice win streak with losses to the San Francisco Shock, but if you want to be dominating, you need to be winning in matches like this. Crystal gets subbed back into this team for Adora here, and we'll see what difference he can make. Again, it's a long way back. Interesting, actually, players on both these teams share some similar origins here. Choi Hyobin hails from a team initially called X6 Gaming, which multiple players on the Hangzhou Spark also do. Godsby, IDK, BB.
Watchpoint Gibraltar will be the next map in the set, so we get an escort map in play. So kind of like hybrid what we saw, but instead of having to take point A to get the payload going, you already start with the payload. Yep. So you can see it on your screen right here. It'll move all throughout this phase of the map to point A. If you're the Spark, it'd be nice to see point B. So we have not seen them.
Well, it'd be nice to see the payload move, Matt. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of that in this series.
Look, you get it at the start, so it will. As this will be point B, so you get it all the way in here through the hangar phase of the map, and then right here towards the end, this would be a map completion if you can get the payload all the way to the distance.
The end of the line. Again, it's pretty simple to push the payload. The players just stand near it. The payload maxes out. It moves forward at top speed if there are 3 attacking players standing near it. But if there's 1 defending player in that same vicinity, it won't move at all. It'll become contested. So the Spark want to waylay, slow down the Shock, try and levy heavy taxes and tolls for them to push this payload through the map.
And just to kind of get like a gauge of like how well, you know, these teams skill-wise is the last 3 maps you've seen are the maps that the Spark beat the London Spitfire in, and they full held London in all of those. Now you're seeing the Shock full hold the Spark in all of these maps as the Spark come out on defense here with Winston, so they're going to play this high ground as the Shock are going to run Reinhardt in terms of the main tank. Everything else the same between these 2 teams.
Super wants to be a little bit careful. If he stands inside Gushue's bubble, he cannot be healed. That will block healing. And again, Gushue's Tesla cannon, these licking tendrils of lightning, will affect people through shields. So you can't block this damage. It's not high damage, but it's persistent. So Super needs to be aware of that as well.
2 players low for the Spark. You had Rhea go really low on Diva and Gushue as well. For both of them have to back up. That'll be an early Graviton Surge there from Sinatra. Maybe they're going to use Transcendence to keep everybody topped up.
Godsby doesn't have his Graviton Surge yet, so the Shock have a little bit of time to play here. They're going to try and make as much hay on the Sunshines. Gushue now getting burnt down, so taking a lot of damage. Primal Rage gives him double the health, but they still health that can be cut through. Getting Super now. The Hangzhou Spark look fairly good. They transition towards some of the more vulnerable targets on the side of the San Francisco Shock, and Gushue will use his mobility to access them directly.
You see how close, though, the San Francisco Shock get to taking point A. So the orange bar at the top of the screen, you get that little checkpoint at the bottom. That'll be where you have to get the payload for each of the places. This will be Sinatra coming back. He's going to get, that's his 2nd grab so far. That's going to be a big shatter. No shield to block that.
Sinatra gets, that is astonishing to me. Sinatra getting 2 huge grabs. The second one required the follow-up of Super's Earth Shatter to make sure that after the Spark were held together, they would also all be knocked to ground together.
I mean, get this. I mean, he's getting a Graviton Surge every 49 seconds. I mean, that is unreal. When you can get that ultimate, because Graviton Surge is so powerful, it brings everybody together right. It's really easy to lay down a ton of damage on those targets when they're all grouped up. This will be a Graviton Surge here used by Godsby. You only get Rascal, so Sosu is just kind of like how desperate the Spark are for a team fight win, in that the sense that they just grab the first person they see, they take him out, and then that forces the Shock to back up.
I mean, that wasn't even necessarily a team fight. The Shock
No,
were
I mean-
participating, but losing one player, especially a player as important as Rascal, the Brigitte is definitely a pivot, a fulcrum for this team because she does so many things. She heals, she stuns, she displaces. They need 6 players. The Shock didn't want to fight with a player disadvantage.
So now you see Payload continue to move. This will be a rally here from the Spark. So they want to get aggressive behind this Brigitte ultimate, providing everybody some armor. But the Shock, you know, you have that Lucio speed boost. You can back up. You can kite some of this. Now you're going to use a rally of your own.
Choikoven pressuring over the top here. His defense matrix can eat a lot of the projectiles fired in, and he's dropped the self-destruct. That's going to force Gushue to turn the shield to protect his teammates, which in turn prevents him from getting aggressive and dropping the shield to swing his hammer. That payload will continue to move, and now the Shock have taken all of this real estate inside. The Spark, if they want to get in, if they want to contest on point B right here, they need to filter through this very small doorway, which is a choke point, and a lot of damage will be headed their way.
Yeah, and Super tries to get that shatter off around the shield of Gushue, but he's able to block it, but the Payload very close to completing checkpoint D, and they get the main tank first, and that is a huge elimination there for the Shock. They're going to be able to move the Payload and take point B right after that.
And look, by virtue of the architecture of the map, the Spark were forced to funnel in. This is just what the Shock wanted, because they have so many heroes that do area of effect damage. So Sinatra got to sit back and just lob balls of plasma in, and Super can just swing the hammer, hitting multiple targets at a time. This is how Sinatra is getting that Graviton Surge so frequently, because for offense heroes, the time to charge up your ultimate is affected directly by the damage you do. More damage, more ultimate. Sinatra, he understands that perfectly well.
Yeah, and the Spark have a ton of ultimates here to use, and I think they're going to have to use them quite early, because it's a really good time. If the Shock are able to win this fight, they pretty much get to the end of the map.
Got to be a shatter here from Gushue. He needs to knock the Shock to the ground. But now he himself gets caught inside a Graviton. A huge shatter, though. That's massive. Sinatra, Choikoven, Rascal are all knocked to the ground here. But the Spark were in no position to follow up on the damage and utilize the fact that the enemy team were unable to take action. And now the Shock, they get a shatter of their own. It was less flashy, yes, but they're able to get some use out of it. They still haven't won the fight, though, and now with the Spark going for the sound barrier, they're extra durable, but the Shock don't care. They don't play by the rules either. Crystal taken down by the self-destructive Choikoven. He threw that in over the backside, and the Spark are now just trying to tread water to stay afloat.
Yeah, without Crystal, you don't have any of those big Brigitte burst heals to be able to keep Gushue or some of the other players alive.
Rude!
Sinatra going to use the Graviton Surge, lock some of the members of the Spark in their spawn. So you see Rhea just desperately trying to get on the cart here to contest.
And the Spark don't look nearly as good when they have to come in 1s and 2s towards the point. They need to be all there in 6, but now players are still respawning. They won't return to the battlefield for a few seconds at least. Crystal now just coming back. Baby gets a Transcendence to win this fight, but Sinatra, you see that extra health? That's a sound barrier. And with Gushue and Rhea going down, the durable front line for the Spark was missing. And perhaps so are their prospects of even getting a map win here. The Shock attack first, they complete the map here in a relatively solid time. They have 2 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in their time bank, which means that if they have to go again, if the Spark finish the map, they'll be able to do it with that kind of time. We'll see you in a second for a second half of this map. you're a Hangzhou Spark fan, you're definitely going to be biting your nails right now because they are on the precipice of letting this one slip through their fingers, and it will be a clean sheet for the San Francisco Shock. Matt, the Spark, though, at the very least, because they defend first, they kind of know at least what their win condition is. Like, how do they win this map?
But, I mean, yeah, you know the win condition, but you haven't gotten a point all series. You just gave up 3. So you know the win condition is something you haven't been able to do all series long. It's going to be very difficult here for the Spark to get this done. I think, for me personally, I think this tells you way more about the Shock, about how dominant they are, than the Spark. I think the Spark, I think you see a clear disconnect between, you know, our top 2 teams, the San Francisco Shock and the Vancouver Titans, and the rest of the league in terms of, I feel like the Hangzhou Spark can beat just about like anybody else in the league, right? I think it just comes down to this matchup. It's very tough.
Would you say that the Spark are playing sort of below their standard here? Or is it just they're being made to look that way?
I think they're just being made to look that way. I mean, they're not doing much different than we saw them do the other day against London. They looked great against London. I mean, maybe they're not as aggressive because the Shock are so aggressive. And I think sometimes when the Shock even play over-aggressive, I think it does scare you to a point. But I think otherwise, I mean, the Hangzhou Spark, they look to be playing the same play styles the other day.
Perhaps we get something a little bit different here. Okay, out of the gates, the Halt is thrown, nicely done. So the idea there, Matt, was to use the Halt from IDK to get someone out in the open, right?
Yeah, so that usually, if you get the Roadhog hooks, the Roadhog can throw the hook, grab a player to them. The Halt can grab players up towards, you know, that big bubble that you saw there. If you combo those, maybe you can catch a player, you know, playing a little bit too aggressively up top, get an easy first pick off. But when the San Francisco Shock see the Reinhardt with the Spark, they know the Spark don't really want to control the high ground. They want to fight in this tunnel, and that is a fight that the San Francisco Shock will take any day.
I mean, that's their bread and butter, Matt.
Yeah, this is what they want.
Sinatra sitting in the back line here. You notice that he can not only lob balls of plasma, but he gets a continuous beam of it there. That is something, by the way, that cannot be blocked by D.Va's defense matrix. Rhea is subject to all of Sinatra's damage, where otherwise Rhea will be able to mitigate a lot of forms of damage by eating it up with the matrix.
Yeah, you see what Sinatra does there is he runs over towards Goucher when he has the shield up, and he starts putting the beam onto the shield. And that's going to work down the shield HP of Goucher, which in turn forces everybody on the Spark to back up.
The shield has a maximum of 2,000 hit points, and that is more than any one hero in the game. Yes, it doesn't last long when 6 people are firing at it, though. And there is Sinatra, he lays down a Graton Surge early. An attempt there from Super. He wanted to remove God's B by charging him. Now, the healing would help the Spark, but it wouldn't stop burst damage, i.e. damage that comes all at once. However, he's able to survive that one and hang around, and here comes a Graviton Surge now from the Spark here. Look at that, Super dropped his shield. Such confidence here as Moth uses a sound barrier. Again, a temporary overshield is applied to the Shock, and they just push back on the Spark.
And, you know, the Spark, you kind of wonder, like, well, why don't they play a little bit more of their own game? Play some Winston, play towards the high ground, as you see the Shock get right up to the spawn doors. You see there's only been one other map score shutout in Overwatch League history. This could be the second one you see here today, but
this is what we call a spawn camp, and this is generally a team who's dominant, trying to impose their will and get ahead of their opponents.
Sound barrier to get out of the spawn, that is not good here, and you're not even going to make it. That'll be Violet picking up a kill. Goucher uses Shatter, he gets knocked up in the air there.
That's the thing about
anything.
The thing about Reinhardt Shatter is that when you use the Shatter, there's a wind-up, there's a voice line, hammer down, but the shockwave only emanates out from the Reinhardt, knocking people down when the hammer touches the ground. So if Reinhardt gets knocked up, ergo, the hammer takes longer to hit the ground to activate the ultimate, which means that defenders get more time to react. They hear the voice line, they know what's coming, they can set up.
Grab, thrown in open space, so you get Sinatra, that's a huge kill there. You have to take advantage of this, so you have to get out of your spawn.
Something's wrong at the Shock win here, but Goucher got taken down by Chokoven. He left the self-destruct, and he got the D-suit on Rhea. The Shock, in a player disadvantage, are able to get 2 of the most important heroes in the enemy team. Super goes for Shatter there. That is definitely unnecessary. That is definitely a little bit flashy.
But look at what's happened, though, in terms of the overall clock. So like we mentioned, that the Spark, in order to force overtime in the game, they're going to have to capture all 3 points. The cart, not even really close to the first point. They have to use their ultimates to get out of their spawn point, and you're only at 30 seconds left here to get this first checkpoint.
Now, if the Shock can, the Spark, can get to point A, they get a time extension. They get to keep playing. However, there's still one more fight, one more opportunity for San Francisco to group up with 6 players and take the Spark on. And this is what they're going to do right about now. Moth has a sound barrier. When you hear that one go off, it'll probably be time for the Shock to go aggressive. Sinatra wants a Graviton Surge, but look, only 26 charge right now. He really wants to try and be amped up a little bit more than that. 62, that's going to help. He gave a bubble to his Reinhardt. Super took damage. He gets the charge, and it's time to go. Gooshwa's very low. Despite need to keep him alive right now. Earth Shadow attempt for Gooshwa hits no one, but Rascal goes down now. A Graviton Surge in the corner. Gooshwa the only one caught, and there it is! He gets charged out of the way there by Super. Now the Graviton comes from the Spark. They're trying to catch someone on the Shock, somebody, and they get Moth. They're going to have to be satisfied with that one, and the follow-up is good. They get Sinatra right after. Huge source of damage for the Shock is missing, and now with San Francisco displaced, the payload reaches point A, and there's that time extension we were talking about.
All right, so the Spark get on the board. They get a checkpoint through the series. So, I can see the players, Rhea, just kind of laughing a little bit. He knew that one came down to the wire as at that point in overtime, right, you have to have one player stay on the payload to keep overtime active. They have to make sure nobody leaves it. So this will be the Shock. Let's see how aggressive they get here. You do have this Earth Shatter here. Super's been very good with this ultimate ability throughout the series. Just play in this corner, just trying to line up a big one.
Super backing up there, realizing that the Spark are really serious about engaging right now. Self-destruct goes down. You see Super moves his shield just to make sure no one's going to be caught by the blast of the detonating mech. And there it is, Faber getting taken down early in this fight now. Violet, with the Transcendence on the backside, is able to push the Shock forward now. They don't need to fear anymore. Now that the Spark are down in players and they had extra healing, and now this is dangerous for the Spark. The Shock get to stabilize in this position, and they have access to both high and low grounds to play from.
Yeah, when the Spark lose Bebe, they end up using sound barriers, so IDK uses that ultimate, trying to keep everybody topped up. Rally comes out from Rascal of the San Francisco Shock, so now you have all the armor, and you can get really aggressive behind Rally. Brigitte, when she's using her flail, able to trigger an AoE heal as well. So, people getting armor, people getting healing, right? In that AoE, you can get really aggressive, push the other team back. But you get really nothing out of that sound barrier there from the Spark, and it's a relatively good trade for the Shock.
Super's the only one that's caught inside that Graviton Surge. Moth opts to be caught in it, by the looks of things, or at least he walked up. He got taken down, but it's a trade. Gooshway for Moth, but now Super goes down. The Spark had the player advantage. Now it's a 4v4 after IDK drops. That was a nice little knockdown on Rascal here, but can the Spark chase it down? The answer is yes, emphatically so. But Troy Coburn being de-suited on the point, he'll use a self-destruct because he'll be able to get back into the mech if he's left alive, but he's not. He gets chased down. Mini Pilot, Devo can't do much, but that Earth Shadow has knocked Baby to the ground. The Shock don't really have the numbers here though, Matt. They've been pushed back. You can see they're kind of split across the battlefield. They'll try and make this costly for the Spark in time, but they can't stop them completely. Another time extension, another checkpoint. The Spark, another glimpse of hope.
Yeah, I think the Shock here in our potentially final map, they've done a good job, being able to hold. Bebe takes out Violet as he gets that spawn a little bit forward. They've gotten a little bit sloppy, a little bit too aggressive in the Spark, making them pay for it. Now the Spark come in with some good ultimates. This first corner, very difficult to get around though. Let's see how costly it is for the Spark in terms of ultimate investment it is to get this payload progress.
They can't afford to spend too much, Matt, because they might need to fight once more towards the end of this map. 2 minutes 29 plays, 1 minute and 9, and the Spark's time is continuing to tick down. Earth Shatter attempt there for Gooshway, no good, and he gets taken down. Perhaps he went for the panic button. Regardless, it doesn't work out. Godspeed has 100 charge, and if he dies, that will be reset, so he gets out quickly, realizing the Spark are going to need that extra damage for the next fight. Both teams use Graviton Surges here. This could be nasty. Rhea goes for the self-destruct, but Super is the only one that gets caught out from that one. The Shock, once more, perhaps overextend a little bit.
Yeah, but look at this, though. The Spark have to use a bunch of ultimates to get out of their spawn point again. The Shock here towards the end of the map, they'll have their Rally, they'll have Sound Barrier, they'll have Earth Shatter there with Super. So it's a lot like how on that first point they went up to the spawn door, they were able to get them to force some ultimates out. You're gonna have to see them get a touch of the point here though.
It's close, very close, but Super goes down. Rascal is able to touch the point here. The Shock are down one player and they need to hold off the Spark here. There is a chance for Hangzhou to stay in this series. Rascal's down, the Shock are down to 4 players with Troy Coburn being de-suited. That's basically another player taken off the table. Super can't get there. The Spark are able to finish the map here on Gibraltar. Finally able to break the curse and not be full held by the Shock. And they're still in this, Matt. In terms of time remaining, because the Spark finished essentially in overtime, they get a 1 minute extension. So they're going to come in with 1 minute. The Shock get a minute added to their time to make it even larger, to make it fair.
Yeah, so the Spark will have 1 minute on their offensive attack, where the San Francisco Shock their 2:18 gets pushed up to 3:18. You can't give one team 1 minute and not give the other team anything.
That's right.
So pretty fair around here. So the Shock looked pretty poor after their initial spawn camp, where they were trying to get up towards the Spark spawn or really putting on a show. I think they just got a little bit sloppy. I think they saw the game in their grasp. I think they got a little bit too overconfident.
That doesn't sound like them, really, though, because they're the team that doesn't let off, in the 4th map, the 5th map. Even if they've already won a series and they keep playing for map differential, they've always seemed to be more aggressive.
And the Spark come up with more final blows in this map than they have throughout the whole series thus far. Where was this Spark team? Although their defense wasn't great, the offense, they do complete the map. So it's like, where was this Spark team for the other maps in the series thus far? As they've really come to life here in what potentially could be the final map of their stage.
Again, the gimmick will be employed once more. Oh, Shogun gets hooked in here. He's given a shield, though, by Sinatra, which is going to boost Sinatra's damage, and the trap is sprung. Hangzhou thought they could play cute.
They don't mind getting this aggressive. I mean, we just saw it here from the Shock, so interesting. IDK will play Mercy, get the res on a Godsby, so instead of waiting out that long respawn time, Mercy able to bring teammates back to life, and then he just switches right off of it. Usually something you don't see, because usually you don't see teams caught in their respawn for a very long time.
25 seconds. Spark needs to at least touch the payload. They've only moved it 4 meters so far in this attack, which means the Shock had pretty much had them dead to rights when it's their turn to go and attack themselves. Super takes a bit of damage. Sinatra Trico, but also looking a little bit low if you look at the health bars at the top of your screen. That's Violet's job to keep them topped up, along with Mott and Rascal. The payload does get moving, but the Shock just sort of back up now to their new staging ground, which is this corner here. Super's taking a lot of damage. He's going to swing forward, though, now. The Transcendence came out from Violet, so there was so much healing for the Shock. Gushue and Crystal both knocked to the ground. The cornerstones of the Spark now have been taken out of the mix, and the rest of the Masonry is probably just going to come tumbling down. Rhea trying to make himself scarce, make himself hard to hit. With the Shock, they're gamers. They can aim happily. And now in overtime here, that will tick down, and the Spark will have to look this one straight in the eye. The San Francisco Shock, frankly, it'll be impossible for them to lose now. They have to attack, they have 3 minutes plus the 18 seconds, and they've just got to move the payload just around that corner.
It is not, that is not ideal there for the Spark, as a few of their players on the stage. You see the Shock guys laughing? The Spark, they're having the same reaction as well. They're like, man, I don't know what we're supposed to do in that scenario. You take a look from Super's POV here. This is, they use Rally and Transcendence. So very hard for him to get taken out here. Another shatter from Super. He's been phenomenal all series long. And then, yeah, look at this. See ya later.
That's ridiculous stuff. Note there as well that Bebe was using Transcendence, so theoretically Bebe was invulnerable at that time, but if you knock an invulnerable character off of the map, they will still be eliminated. There's no way you can survive an environmental kill of that nature, so Super just, oh man, got that animal energy going on.
So right now from the Spark on defense, we've seen a lot of triple tank, triple support. This is a different look. It's a little bit of desperation here with knowing where the payload needs to go to. So if the Shock move the payload to that box right there, the map is over. The series is over. So they run Bastion with Arisa, Baptiste, Mercy. So this is like our bunker composition where Bastion can turn into a turret.
Oh no!
Very difficult to Violet. Oh,
no, Violet! Normally a support player, now playing the Sniper and Widowmaker, and he's found two. The Shock are playing this weird composition because they're just here to have fun, and they know all they had to do was find the one kill. Eat your heart out gesture. You've got a new contender. Violet on the switch up. Godspeed will reveal himself in just a moment and keep it contested as he does now. But the jig is up. That's it. The Shock are off the Richter, and the Spark come crashing down. San Francisco, we'll see you in our Stage 2 final.
Now they looked very good in Stage 1 all the way up until the finals where they lose at the end to the Vancouver Titans. And this team is so confident right now, playing so clean on another level where I feel like they're destined to win this stage, man. I mean, with the way they have played, they are looking very, very strong.
Well, Matt, the stars may be aligned, but there is a scary opponent awaiting the Shock on the other side of the bracket, no matter who it may be. Will it be New York or Vancouver? Either way, That one is going to be quite the tussle indeed. The Shock have had a pretty comfortable stage, not dropping a map in sort of regular stage play. And now they're back where they were in stage one. This time they're going for gold. We're going to head now down to the stage with our insider Mika and an interview with Super.
Thanks, guys. I got the Tank Supreme Super here from the San Francisco Shock. Congratulations, you are going on to your second stage playoffs final. I mean, I know you guys are a confident team, but did you ever think that this is where San Francisco Shock would be, like undefeated, going on to another final? You guys are crazy.
I said no in another interview, but now that I'm live, I'll say yeah, we did expect that.
I love the confidence, and there is a chance that you will be having your rematch with your past rivals, the Vancouver Titans, or you could be going up against New York Excelsior. But either way, I gotta know, I know you, Super. You got any spicy words for your opponents?
Well, we're gonna win, and yeah.
Simple yet spicy. Thank you, Super. I'm saying a lot of S's today, but that's all we got down here. Back to you, Mitch and Matt.
Thank you very much, Mika. At this point, Matt, what more is there really to say? The statement of
Not
intent
much.
from the Shock came right at the start of this season, and they've delivered on it now, and here we are. 4-0, the Shock advance to our finals tomorrow at 10 a.m. PT, and they'll be up against the winner of the Titans versus Excelsior. New York, Vancouver will be going at it. But let's just double back to this match briefly here, Matt. We have much to discuss, but more importantly, a player of the match to announce, brought to you by Omen by HP.
Yeah, and I think this one, it was a little bit of a toss-up between us two, but at the end, Sinatra was so good on Zarya throughout this series. I think Sinatra or Super could have gotten it. I think Super definitely outplayed Gushrey in that main tank role, but when the damage needed to come down for the Shock and you need a big plays, I mean, every time I feel like we get into a team fight, this guy has his ultimate in play, just always high charged. Sinatra, definitely one of the best players in the Overwatch League this far. 69 average energy through the course of a series is insane. Like, it's also the fact that he's not really dying that much. 7 deaths over the course of 4 maps. But almost 60,000 damage over the course of 4 maps as well. A crazy series here from Sinatra.
You know, when we calculate average energy, the time that you are eliminated or, you know, dead counts as 0%, right?
Yeah.
So he spent much of his time alive there. Congratulations, of course, to the Shock and Sinatra. We teased him as a player that was really important. Coming up next is a very important game as well. It's going to be our other stage semi-final. The Vancouver Titans are looking for yet another stage title. They're our stage 1 champions. And the New York Excelsior are here to reclaim some former glory. They weren't even in the grand final of stage 1, and they're here to show the world that they still got what it takes. But for now, we're going to leave you on this note. Stage 1 finals, it was the San Francisco Shock, the Vancouver Titans. Let's hear some sights and sounds from how that one went down those few weeks ago. There is a special spot in the book of esports history for champions here in the Overwatch League.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Titans.
Look at these ugly, sloppy players.
마이크 체크하자. 본 사람한테 미안하지만 4대0 갑시다.
They're definitely scared of us.
Yeah,
I
100%.
know they are.
마지막 기회입니다, 여러분.
Play our game and pummel these kids.
Yeah, let's go. Yo, 3, 2, 1, okay! Let's go, boys.
밴쿠버 하나, 둘, 셋.
Vancouver, make some noise as we're heading to our stage 1 final.
우리가 훨씬 잘해. 침착하게.
That's fine. We suck at that map. It's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now we win.
Yeah.
carry.
Nice!
It's our worst map and we won. Let's go.
So bad.
펑커시 부조화 내가 부르는 거. 오케이.
Now, the kings of the jungle have to assert themselves.
Okay, sure. Nice!
이건 진짜 아깝다. 이건 어쩔 수 없어.
Guys, we're so much better. Let's go.
Is this where it ends? Is this where the Shock hold off the Titans?
야, 가자, 앞으로 갈게.
랩자 민수야 프리드래. 할수 있어. 나이스.
내 표정 봤지?
야 칭찬하기엔 입이 아깝고 끝나고 칭찬해줄게.
오케이.
일단은 가자. 17연승.
It all ends here on Rialto.
Nice, guys.
딱일분이야. 서울이랑 똑같아.
Remember the Titans though, they are still in a great spot to take this all the way here.
라인 보는 중. 라인. 자리야. 핸드필. 나이스.
아니 방심하지 말고. 얘네 표정 굳었어. 확실히 막을 수 있어.
That was a haymaker of a round.
The Shark, they only have 1 minute. 1 minute on this map.
We can still win, really.
Yeah, really.
Really, I believe. Don't be scared, guys.
This is just a first point hold. That's all this is. That's just a full hold.
Now we know what the Titans need to do. It's simple. And the Vancouver Titans take what was promised to them. Your stage 1 champions.
GG.
Strikers.
I'm about to start crying, bro.
Good job, everyone.
I'm really proud of you guys.
Good job.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.